Everybody, happy Sunday. I hope you're all doing well today. Hope you're all doing splendid. Welcome to yet another daily cooking stream. Here we are. Hello, hello. Hope you're all having a beautiful day today. I've had a pretty busy Sunday myself. Thank you, Moonha. That's very sweet of you. I've been trying my best to do the 3 streams a week, and we have been succeeding thus far without any complications. Hello. Hi. I've had a bit of a busy day today. I've done a lot of work, I shopped, I got a lot of stuff done in preparation of the stream and then some other future projects that I'm working on. I hope you're all doing well. Before we do get into the content of today, I do want to quickly ask you guys, how do you feel about the 6 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday as opposed to 3 p.m.? I think I might be accidentally debuffing my EU, my European audience. So let me know how you feel about this. That being said, though, welcome. Hope you're all having a good day today. I am pretty excited for what we will be making. Because I was craving a little bit of Mexican food and we will be getting it. Also, hello, Scroblo. Hello, hello. So, let's talk about what we will be making. We will be making a couple of things. This is mostly a little bit to get rid of some leftovers that I've had lying around. Specifically, I had some leftover cilantro and I had some leftover chicken breasts. Also, hello to Ravsol. Welcome to the stream today. I have some leftovers that I want to get rid of, and today is Sunday. This is usually my big leftover day. We had these chicken breasts, and I was like, you know what? This is just 2 of them. What am I going to do with this? And I decided to make some tinga. And tinga is essentially chicken breasts that then get cooked down in usually like a tomato or tomatillo salsa. Sometimes with chorizo, which we have as well today, with some spices. It gets cooked down in some chicken stock, and then you take everything and then you blend it up and make it into a salsa, and then you put the meat back in. And it's really, really exciting, delicious stuff. It gets shredded up, it's filled with flavor, it's nice and spicy, and it is one of my favorite things to eat on either like tostadas, it's one of my favorite things on tacos, or today we will be doing a rice bowl because I didn't feel like making my own tortillas today. In addition to that, I also had half a head of cabbage that I noticed in my fridge that I wanted to get rid of. And so I was like, okay, you know what? We're doing a tinga, we might as well also do a shredded cabbage slaw. So we're going to shred up that cabbage, we're going to salt it, we're going to throw in some lime juice and some spices and some serrano chilies. And we also have a bunch of stuff that we'll throw in. We'll make some rice. I have some beans that I already cooked a couple of streams ago, and we're going to give everything as much effort and love and attention to detail as possible. Okay, we're not going to just cook all of these ingredients, we're going to transform them into something special and find the best way to inject as much flavor as possible. And that is going to start with the cabbage. And I'm going to show you what we do with the cabbage. Today is going to be a fairly short stream, it's going to be a fairly easy stream. But what we do with the cabbage, I think, is an essential processing step that will really help to elevate any preparations of cabbage that you do. And this is going to be the same technique that I use for tomatoes, for cucumbers, for salads, any vegetable that's going to be raw in something. I'm always going to salt it in advance so that it draws out any excess moisture and we don't have a soggy salad at the end of the day. So let's get started. We have a cutting board already set up and ready to go. And we have Mr. Cabbage. Okay, and we're going to try to get a nice, super, super thin shred. Okay, I want thin shavings of cabbage, paper thin. If you have a mandolin, right, if you have one of these bad boys, you can do it on a mandolin. That would be an excellent tool for the job. Or if you have a nice sharp knife, that also does a fantastic job, although not as easily. So let's go ahead and get a nice big bowl. You want a bowl that's big enough to accommodate the shredded cabbage, and it's going to collapse in texture. It's going to fill up this bowl, I promise. So, big old bowl, and let's just begin. Really, really simple stuff, and this has to be done in advance. We have to salt the cabbage in advance because it's going to take around 30 minutes to an hour for us to draw out all of that excess liquid. We're going to shred it and then toss it and massage a bunch of salt and then strain it out, okay? And I love doing this to cabbage, I love doing this to tomatoes, to cucumbers, to any vegetable that has the risk of being too wet in your... I just slapped my finger against the knife. Am I okay? I think I'm okay. I don't think I cut through my glove. I cut through my glove. Oh no. Am I fine? I'm fine. Okay. My glove actually shielded me. I think I need to be careful waving knives around in my hands simultaneously because that could have been bad. It did cut through my glove. Okay, fresh glove. So this has to get done in advance so that the salt is actually able to do its job to be able to fully penetrate everything, right? So we're going to cut this down just like so. We're going to cut this into quarters. So this was half a cabbage and then cut into a quarter of a cabbage. We're gonna get this off the cutting board for now so it's not overcrowded. And then all you're gonna do, guys, really, really simple. Lay it down nice and flat and as thin as you can go. Nice, long slices. Okay, and I mean thin. I mean these are thin, thin, thin shavings. Okay? All the way through. Go nice and slowly, go nice and patiently. And the thinner you get it, the more the texture is going to be able to collapse and the more water will be able to get out of it, okay? And you're going to regularly want to clean up your cutting board with your bench scraper, throw it into your bowl so that your board doesn't get overflown. Also, hello, Alamdina. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. Nice and thin. Nice and thin, okay? I'm actually cutting on a slight angle, which I really don't like right now. But we'll figure it out. Sweet. Just cleaning up a board often. Cabbage can easily become a mess on your work surface. And it gets really uncomfortable, it gets really unpleasant. And then we'll begin on the salsa for the tinga after this. This is the only step that has to be done so far in advance. Okay? And you'll see what we do. You'll see. It's gonna be pretty exciting stuff. Okay? Nice and slowly, nice and patiently. And this slaw is going to go on top of the rice bowl for today. Or maybe it'll just go separately. I'm not sure yet. I think we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Oh, I eat raw cabbage all the time. No, you're absolutely based for that. No, you're so real. Don't even sweat it. I sincerely agree with you. In fact, it would often be my computer snack. I love snacking on vegetables. Anybody that's ever voice called with me has seen me eat so many leafy greens. I love it, especially this one. This one's really nice and sweet. Whoa, this is cabbage season, my friends. Okay, and now that we get down to this part of the cabbage, you can see that the core, we're at the tip of it. We're going to have to change the way that we're slicing this. Now we're going to slice it like this instead. Okay? Because we don't want to get any of the core inside. The core can be quite tough. Or alternatively, you could just cut it out right now in one fell swoop. The only issue with doing that, like this, and if we cut the rest of the core out, is that this causes the cabbage to fall apart. But it's a lot easier to hold it together once it's already this small of a piece. Okay? I just like staying nice and organized, and that leaf is a little thick on the base. Yeah, but you see, now it's like gonna fall apart a little bit more. But as long as you're nice and organized, it'll work out and it'll be okay. Maybe those slices are a little too thick. I could eat so much cabbage if it's in coleslaw or okonomiyaki. I don't love okonomiyaki, actually. That's one of my culinary hot takes. And in fact, when it comes to Japanese street food, I find, okay, I have some really, really mean things to say about Japanese street food. For me, too much mayonnaise and way too sweet almost all the time. I'll give you an example. Takoyaki. If takoyaki was done with like maybe a tenth of the mayonnaise that they do, I would enjoy it so much more. Every time I get takoyaki though, it's absolutely drenched. It is drenched in it and it is unpleasant. Thank you for tuning in. Every time I have takoyaki, I'm like, oh man, I would love to have a fried octopus ball, okay? And then I get in there and I have one little tiny piece of octopus and it is drenched and covered in mayonnaise and then that sweet sauce. And I'm like, oh, so sticky. I do my own pickled cabbage and I really should get into making my own pickled kimchi. Pickled cabbages are just way too expensive for what they are. Kipi mayo is everything, but I don't want a mouthful of mayonnaise. Actually, I have some big pieces, some of the core that's left behind that I don't want to include. Because it's too toothsome. Okay. Now you can see how much this easily fills up a bowl, but once we salt it and release some of it liquid and we like really massage it, I promise you it's going to basically like reduce in half, right? We're going to get rid of like half that volume. All right, next one. Go a little faster this time. I don't think it's an outrageous take. And I think this goes for all Japanese like street foods or anything that's really fried. Like, I don't understand why like katsu is also like covered in like that really, really sweet sauce, right? I like the curry katsu because it's not covered in that really sweet sauce. And so everything being cooked. Many people would also pay for that same pleasure one day. Okay. We're getting there. And now let's shave down these sides just to make this easier for yourselves. Whoop. Slightly slippery on top. Let's get this off my boiler. But yeah, that's my take. That's my fairly hot take. Everybody's like, oh, I love takoyaki. Listen, I would love takoyaki if it was just a lot less of mayonnaise sauce. Also, hello, my little J-Champ. It is lovely to see you. It's been a while. We're slicing up some cabbage at the moment. Okay. Let's get back down to business. So let's shave up this side as well, and then we'll get rid of the core of the cabbage. Smell-o-vision ASAP, yeah. But the thing is this, I can't actually say that out loud because that is like the cooking content creator like cliche. Ah, smell-o-vision, you guys have to smell this. The smell of the cooking onion is incredible. It's such a cliche, I see it all the time. Okay. That's why I've abstained from doing so. Okay, and now let's shred up the rest of this cabbage. I'm gonna show you how we process it from here on out. Slice it up, nice and thin. I have a new pack of latex nitrile gloves so they smell like it. Anyhow. Get all that cabbage in there, and then this. Cliches do become cliches for a reason. You're absolutely right. All the cabbage. Let's get that in the bowl, my friends. Every single last scrap so that our cutting board is not messy. And then I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to wipe it off because that is a carbon steel knife. And you don't want carbon steel tools to remain wet longer than they have to because then they have a chance to develop rust. So I'm just going to take my knife, I'm going to dry it off thoroughly with the kitchen towel. It's just cabbage water on it. And we're going to set it aside. But this is how you take care of these kinds of things and you stop this from developing, okay? You have to baby them on occasion. And that's okay. You baby them, you take care of them, they'll grow up into be beautiful knives. All right? So, moisture removed. And now, let's salt this cabbage. So, generous, and I mean generous amounts of kosher salt. And we're gonna massage it in. And a lot of the salt is going to disappear into the liquid, but doing this, guys, 30 minutes to an hour in advance, you're going to get rid of so much excess liquid that would otherwise dilute your salad. So, I'm gonna dry off my hand one more time to make sure I'm not going into my salt container with a wet hand. Nice big pinch of salt, big. We'll do one more of these, okay? Maybe a little more than that. How much do I know? I don't know, I'm just going by feel. And then I'm gonna massage it in there. We're gonna squeeze. You hear how the cabbage is crunching in my hand? This is going to really help the salt to get in there. And we're gonna start breaking apart the texture of the cabbage, okay? Again, it is essential that you do this for any cabbage salad. It is just night and day. And we're gonna taste it. I'm gonna taste it just to make sure I have enough salt. Because you really want the salt to do its job. You really want it to break down the cabbage. You really want to get rid of any excess moisture. And you can already see how the cabbage is reducing a little bit as we're crunching it down. And we're gonna get all the stuff from the sides too. Make sure you don't ignore those. Punch it down. Now we'll have a little taste. There's plenty of salt. Man, these gloves are They smell like nitrile today. Okay, look at that. You can see how much the volume has already reduced. The cabbage is already softened significantly. And now imagine how that'll be in 30 minutes. Okay? Get this done now, and you will thank yourself later. Let's get these gloves off, because I will not need these anymore. And I'm going to go ahead and set this aside. Does kind of smell like my gloves. Uh-oh. I hope I didn't chop any glove in there. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Nitrile gloves are food safe. At least I think so. At least I'm pretty sure. Okay. Now, what do we have to do? Let's think for a second. In fact, we'll have a little recap. I want to talk about the order of operations. Everybody keeping along? Everybody following? Good. So, that's for the slaw. And what needs to happen now is going to be stuff for the tinga itself. And the tinga is going to be a shredded chicken cooked in a little salsa. And what I love doing whenever I'm making a tinga is to char some of my vegetables that then build the salsa up. I'm doing a green one today. I'm doing it with tomatillos. So I'm going to slice up the tomatillos and we're going to put it under the broiler and we're really going to char the hell out of it. We're going to burn the tomatillos on the outside and it's going to impart a really nice smokiness into everything. Okay? So let's do that now. Actually, there's one little step that we have to talk about. Going into the tinga today, I also have a couple of chipotle chilies. Okay? We're using whole dried chilies. We don't use any chili powder present. And every single chili is so different and has so much to say. And the reason I'm only doing 2, okay, is because I only have 2 chicken breasts. I'm only going to do like 1 thing of chorizo, right? It's not going to be that much meat. So we don't need that many chilies. But if you smell this, it smells really nice and smoky. And so here's how you process these. We have to soak them. But first, before we soak it, we have to soak it in hot water. And we also have to peel the, we have to get the seeds out. And we have to get like the little white part of the chili out, right? Because the seeds will give us some unnecessary heat. We'll have a bunch of heat coming in from the serrano that we're going to add to it. It's going to be spicy enough, I promise. So here's what we do, my friends. Let's glove up, just so I can protect my hands. Okay? Gloved up. We're going to go ahead and take the chilies, and I need a little container for them where they will soak. And in fact, I might just use the container I'll blend them in too. That's what I'll do, if I can find it. Oh no, I should have taken this out beforehand. What could it possibly be? I have a little cup that I use for my stick blender, and I don't know where I put it. Is it in here? I feel like it's in here sometimes. Is it in here? No. Okay, we'll do a different one. It'll be fine. Okay, so the finished chipotle chilies are going to soak in here, and then this is where we'll blend the salsa as well. So here's what we do, my friends. We just have 2 little chipotles. That's all we need for today, because we're only making tinga with 2 chicken breasts. It's not that much. We're just really downscaling this recipe. We cut off the top of it, because the top of it is like where the chili grows out of, right, the stem end. And we're just going to peel this open. We're going to throw in the flesh of the chili into the bowl, and then we're just going to pop out all of these seeds. We do not need them. All the seeds can go. Lovely. And then we're going to tear this chili up into smaller pieces. Just like so. It's okay if there's like a few seeds left, but all of these, they contain so much heat of the chili itself, and all of it would have found its way into the salsa, and we would have had something that's a little uncontrollably spicy for the size of it. Okay? So, once again, use your scissors, open it up. We're going to cut along the side of the flesh. We're going to peel the chipotle open. And again, they smell beautiful. They have such a nice like smokiness to them. It's going to make our tinga really special. Okay? Hello. What's going on? Lovely to see you. Okay. That should be the majority of it. Can't handle a little heat? I can handle plenty of heat. We will just have serranos as well. We don't need that much heat is the only thing. We're only making a very, very small portion of tinga today. That's why I'm doing it like this. I have my reasons, I have my methods. So, that's in there. The chipotles are in this little container, and we're gonna soak it with hot water. I promise you, for 2 chicken breasts, 2 dried chipotles is more than enough, okay? And soak it. We don't want to dilute this too much, just that much. We'll be fine. So that's the first step that we have to get out of the way. And now, we have to actually build the salsa itself. And the salsa itself, that everything is going to cook in, is going to be comprised of the tomatillos, of serranos, and some garlic. All right, so it's going to have some really, really nice aromatics. So let's get that done now. On a sheet tray, here's what you're going to do. You're going to take a little bit of foil, just to make your life easier. You don't have to. A little bit of foil. And ideally, I should really stop cooking with foil one of these days. Ugh, that's too short. That's defeated the whole purpose. I apologize for being wasteful. You just want a piece long enough that you can set down. Cut it off too short in the beginning. Here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna take it, you're gonna lay it down, and this is where your tomatillos are gonna go, and we're gonna put them under the broiler. We wanna burn the skins of the tomatillos, we wanna burn the skin of the serrano, we wanna burn some garlic, just so that we can impart a little bit of smokiness, so we have a lot more interesting flavor going on inside of the tinga itself. To me, that smokiness of like the burnt tomatillos or like the burnt tomatoes that you would be using, it's a lot of the love and the soul of Mexican cooking that we don't really get to necessarily replicate as much as we should be, okay? It's my favorite. So here's what we'll do. We have our tomatillos and serranos, and again, we don't have that many here, mostly because we're only making very, very little. I'm gonna show you exactly how to process these. First of all, when you get tomatillos, they're very, very slimy. They're very slimy and sticky on the outside, under the leaves. You peel the leaves, you wanna basically scrub these outsides. And then you wanna get rid of the core, because the core of the tomatillos are really, really hard. Okay, especially, they're a lot harder and woodier than a regular tomato. So that's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna basically slice these bad boys in half and get rid of the core. All right, you follow? Excellent. Tomatillo, slice it in half. You go in here. You're gonna make a nice diagonal incision. Nice little diagonal incision. Wait, does that smell off? No, it smells fine. I think I just keep smelling the nitrile in my gloves. Okay, tomatillos, and you're gonna place them on. And you're gonna do this with every single one of your tomatillos, okay? Slice it. And people say something about raw tomatillos being poisonous. I don't know if I believe them. I don't think I do. Okay. We have to go through every single one. Get rid of that core. Get rid of it, out it goes. These aren't necessarily the freshest, but we'll make them nice and delicious. Ooh, these are tiny tomatillos on top of that. And again, tomatillos, people say you can't really eat raw. I don't know if I believe them. I've definitely seen raw tomatillo salsas. We'll see. This is not going to be raw by any means, though. It's going to be fully cooked. I can assure you of that. Oh, I didn't get in there nearly as much as I should have. But yeah, this is something I don't think enough people cook with. More people should, in my opinion, be cooking with tomatillos. They are delicious, and I don't know, they're just great in sauces, they're great in soups as well. You don't even necessarily have to go like a traditional like Mexican route of preparation with them. Any cases where you could use like cooked tomatoes, tomatillos, they don't make like a direct one-to-one substitute, but they have a lot of flavor and character, and they have a lot of presence. So I do like them a lot. All right, these are kind of tricky to stem this way. So I might just stem them like this, because they're almost too small for me to hold in my hand. So we'll get these little Pac-Man shapes out of them. A little bit more wasteful, but that's okay. Okay, cut this last one in half. We're only gonna need a little onion today, very little. for the salsa. They will become more expensive, absolutely. Ah, what a tragedy that would be. And then we just need one of these serranos. Just one. The other one is going to go into the salad. So let's set this aside. Okay. We're going to de-seed this because, again, guys, the tinga is going to have the chorizo, it's going to have the chipotles, and it's going to have the flesh of the serrano. We don't need more seeds, I promise. Let's go ahead and get these out, pop them open, and just grab the seeds, rip them out. And this is also going to get charred. It's going to get nice and smoky too. It's really nice to do this with gloves so that the capsaicin doesn't stick to your fingers, because that can always be a nightmare. You really don't want to touch your face after handling chilies like this, spicy ones. Okay? Get in there. We're going to go ahead and rip all those seeds out. Maybe use your nail with a glove, or you can use a spoon. Doesn't really matter. Look at that. All gone. Excellent. We're building the components for our salsita. Excellent. And then we'll also need about 1/4 of an onion. We need very little onion because we're doing such a small batch. And the rest of the onion I'm going to dedicate for the salad itself. So it's not going to be wasted by any means. Have I ever had Eastern European food? Jack, I am Russian. I grew up with Russian food. I've grown up with Georgian food as well because my neighborhood has a lot of Georgian cuisine. So yes, I have. Quite a bit. So let's get rid of all this. I don't need this at the moment. And then we're going to just peel up the onion and we can leave it whole. And it's all going to get blended down, okay? Peel it up, get rid of that. And we're just going to slice it in half, actually. So we got like 1/8 of an onion. Just to make sure it cooks a little bit. Okay. That's that. Let's clean up this board. And then the last step is going to be some garlic cloves. Okay? Really try to get all the peels off so it doesn't infest and find its way into anything else. I'm also going to turn on the boiler so it gets nice and hot for when we need it. Let's get some garlic. Ooh, I don't have that much garlic. We'll do like 3 cloves roasted. And some of it I think we'll saute as well. For now, we'll roast this garlic. But yes, I've had plenty of Eastern European food of all kinds. I love it all. Kind of. I love most of it. And the garlic, we're actually going to do something interesting. We're just going to cut the butts off, but we're going to keep the skin on it. And the skin is going to protect it from burning too much. If the garlic burns, it has a chance to make the whole salsa really, really acrid. But some of it can be really pleasant. I'm telling you, people don't burn their food enough. People just caramelize it, but they don't char it. But to get those really, really nice, pleasant, charred, smoky flavors, you have to push everything a little step further. So let me wipe off my knife again and set it aside, and I'm going to show you what we have in front of us. And I'm going to move the oven tray up 1 rack so that it's just next to the fire. All right, my friends. Is Ashkenazi the Eastern European Jewish? Yes, it is. I am Ashkenazi Jewish. Russian Ashkenazi, technically. So my friends, take a look. This is everything that we need to build a salsa for the tinga today. And we're going to blend it all, and then it's going to cook in the chicken. Okay? So we have onions. We have rather 2/8 of an onion, so we have 1/4 of an onion total. I just touched my face with these gloves because I am an idiot. We have some tomatillos that we've just simply peeled, washed, and then cut the cores out of because they get really woody and toothsome. Oh gosh. Oh no. I don't think that's an ingredient. I'm not sure if that's a component in this, but we also have some serranos. Okay? And all of this is going to get really, really nice and charred on top. It's going to make the whole salsa really, really smoky. And then in this container, I have soaking 2 chipotles. That was a sneeze. And that's all going to go into the tinga itself. It's going to be incredible. All right? And then we can just work on the other components, I suppose. I think we should also saute some onion for it. We'll see. So Under the broiler she goes. We're gonna get it nice and charred, nice and burnt. We're gonna let it cool off and then we'll blend it all down. And we'll get a lovely little salsa. I sound like a bunny when I sneeze. I don't know if that's what rabbits sound like. Holy shit. Is that a little bug? Oh my God, how the fuck did that get here? What? How was there a bug on my bench scraper? It was like a little pill bug. Was it from the tomatillos? How'd that even happen? It's fine. It's a part of life, baby. But I am actually really, really confused. Okay. Let's wipe down my board. Really quickly. That was bizarre. I don't think we have those anywhere else. At least I would hope so. Okay. He's just trying to hang out. Hello, Vexel. Is that bug a secret ingredient? No. No, no. He is not. All right, my friends, little recap. So, currently in the broiler, what do we have happening? We have the onion. We have the tomatillos. We have some garlic. And we have some serrano chilies. And we're going to get it nice and burnt, and we're going to blend it down to a salsa. We've already made a bunch of sliced cabbage that is soaking in some salt. Okay? And we're doing this, and you can already see how much the cabbage it looks like. I'm going to show you. It looks like it's sweating. Okay? Look at it. Basically, sweating. And we're doing this so that it gets really, really nice and tender, and we're able to get rid of all of that excess liquid. We're breaking down the cabbage mechanically, essentially with the salt here. All right? Great. Wonderful. And now what do we have left? For the tinga itself, I'm going to be doing a chorizo and chicken breast tinga. We're going to fry up the chorizo. We're going to fry up the chicken breast. We're going to shred up the chicken breast, put it back in. The salsa we're going to blend in advance. It's going to be good stuff. I guess the thing I need to do now is take the chorizo out of the casing. So let's set up the station and do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all of this for a second. Just wipe down my station as well while I'm at it. Let's get rid of this, set this all aside. And then I'm going to get a bowl. This is where the chorizo is going to go once it's been taken out of the casing. Because you're amazing. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. And then we're going to get, we don't need a lot. We only have 2 chicken breasts that we're working with. Typically, the ratio that I've seen people use is like 1/4 of the amount of chicken breast you're using is going to be chorizo. So it's like a 1-to-4 ratio, right? I don't want this too chorizo heavy. It's still about the chicken breast. It's still a chicken tinga. So let's figure out how much I'm using. Let's figure that out right now. And I want to take it out of the casing because I want to brown it. Right? I want to brown it. I want to get some good color on it. And at the moment, the vegetables are in the oven. Okay. Chorizo. Right here. Let me open up this bag like this because I'm silly. This is in total, I have 1 pound of chorizo. I definitely don't need 2 sausages. So let's think. Do I want to use all of this? I have this little tiny bit right here. I think I'm going to use this much. And I'm also going to use half of this. So let me just grab a little knife that I can hold in my hand. Right now, I'm going to slice this in half. I'm going to set this aside for another use another time. Okay? I'm going to just throw this right back into the bag. And we're going to skin that much. So this is about 3/4 of a thing of chorizo. More is better, I agree. I just don't want this to be overwhelmingly chorizo-y. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this and we're going to squeeze all the meat out of it. That's all. Nice and easy. Squeeze the meat out. Get the skin off. Turn it inside out. Do whatever you got to do. I don't know if there's a right way to do this. This is the way I've always done it. You just turn it inside out, and out it all comes. And then we'll check on the tomatillos. Oh, I love chorizo so much. It is actually just one of my favorites. And try not to waste any. It's good stuff. This is fresh chorizo that I got from a local store. If you can't find any locally, make your own. Make your own. I've actually never made it before. In fact, I think we should do that one of these streams. We should make our own chorizo. How do you guys feel about that? What if we made our own chorizo on a stream? What if I did a hand-cut chorizo? Oh, that would be awesome. That would be really good, I think. IMO. Okay. Almost done. And all of this is going to go into the tinga itself. Beautiful stuff. And then we got to check on the vegetables ASAP. Okay. What will I do with the skin? Throw it away. There's really nothing super interesting that you can do with sausage skins. Fresh made food streams are the best. I agree. Okay. Let us check on the vegetables. So let's head to the stove. I'm just going to set this aside really quickly. And we will see the progress. And we're looking for everything to be nicely charred on the outside. And guess what? It is already getting there. We want to probably push this a little bit more. And I'm going to flip over the onions and the garlic so that they char evenly. But I'm trying to get good color on it. Okay? So flip that onion. Flip that onion. That serrano can stay. We're going to flip that garlic. We're going to flip. Ooh, that's hot. It just came out of the broiler. We're going to flip it. Okay? And all of that is just going to go back in. And this is going to give our salsa just a really, really nice smokiness. Okay. This right here is the chorizo. Use oil? No, I don't think so. I don't think we need any excess fat in this. It's conducting the heat fairly evenly. It's just doing its job. I've tried it with both. With oil, in fact, it tends to splatter under the broiler because the fat splashes up. The fat splashes up and it vaporizes on it, and it tends to oil and foil. Look, it's doing its thing. It's doing its job. It's trying. I'm getting the product that I want. I'm getting the result that I want. I've tried it both with oil and without oil, and I like doing it without oil so that I can control how much fat I have, because I'll have fat going into other parts of it. And it seems to be conducting the heat evenly as it is. It's supposed to char. That's the point. We want to char this. It's not supposed to be fried. It's not supposed to be just lightly cooked. It's not supposed to be caramelized. We're burning the shit out of this intentionally. And this is how you add really, really nice smokiness to it. This is intentional, controlled burning. I know it might look a little bit off, but that's the whole point of this. If we had like a really, really big, I guess it's called a comal. I'm gonna look it up actually really quickly. I'm pretty sure that's what they're called. Where is my phone? Where is my phone? Where'd it go? Oh, it's under the towel. Pretty sure the thing I'm thinking of right now in my head is a comal. Yes, it is. So basically, in Mexico, they'd have these comals, which are these really, really big flat tops that would go over an open fire or something, okay? And that comal would get super, super hot, and on it you would do a million different tasks, one of which would be sometimes charring your vegetables directly. Or, I think this is something the Mayans did, maybe the Incas, one of the two. They would have a bunch of chilies and a bunch of seeds, and they'd put it in a metal box and throw it into the fire and burn it all essentially into ash. And then that would go in a couple of like really, really traditional indigenous dishes. I couldn't tell you exactly which culture it came from though. And I forgot the name of it. I know Internet Shaquille did a video on it though. But point is, controlled burning, just like let's say you were to grill something and you get like those grill marks of like the slightly burnt meat. It is a flavor in of itself. We're not trying to caramelize stuff. So that being said, everything is now charred as much as it should have. We're looking to burn everything intentionally. And that's why we intentionally did not use any oil. We didn't want to fry this. I didn't want to get the taste of burnt oil. I just wanted a burnt vegetable taste. Okay? And now we're just going to cool all of that off. So let's have a little update. What have we accomplished thus far and what do we have left to do? We have the cabbage for the cabbage slaw currently soaking in salt so that we can get rid of all the excess moisture. We have the vegetables, the tomatillos, the onions, the serranos, the garlic, all of that is really, really nicely charred at the moment. And that's all gonna get blended down to the salsa. We took the chorizo out of the skin, okay? And that means we have to cook the chicken breast. We have to cook the chorizo, we have to cook it all in the salsa. We take out the chicken breast, we shred it up, and then we put it back in with everything else, okay? In addition to that, we have to do the other components of the salad and also make the rice. So I think for now, maybe we should just wash the rice. I think that should happen right now. My favorite saucepan is dirty again. Oh well. I'll use this little pot. We're gonna make some tomato rice. It's actually gonna be really simple. It's not gonna be a seasoned rice. So it's not like a traditional like Spanish tomato rice or anything, but it's just gonna have like a little bit of tomato paste and some bay leaves. How long do you boil in for what temperature? Good question. So broilers don't have temperatures, they have settings. So you either have a high or a low, and I do it on high. And for how long? The answer is as long as it takes to get it done. With broilers, because of how hot the heating element is on the top, you never want to walk away from it because you have a risk of something catching on fire. So what you're going to do, because you don't really care about the air temperature of the oven, you can open it, close it, just peek on it. It takes in total, right, that took us like 5 minutes. But you just have to keep an eye on it whenever you boil something. Oh, I thought of that guy too. Okay, so let's wash some rice, my friends. And now let's think. I have 2 kinds of rice at home at the moment. No, bay leaves, I think, are actually quite aromatic. I think people don't use enough of them. That's my take. So, for the rice, do I want basmati or do I want more sushi rice? Those are the 2 that I have today. I don't have any jasmine, I don't have anything else. I'm gonna stick with the sushi rice. I personally just love the stickiness and the texture and the toothsomeness of sushi rice. It is such like an ideal mouthful for me. Mouthfeel, not mouthful. So let's make a bunch. We're gonna do that much today. And we're gonna wash it. We're gonna wash it thoroughly until it's clear. Number 1 issue, I talk about this all the time. Whenever I see people that think they need to wash rice, they're like, okay, I'm gonna put this in a strainer and wash it that way. When you do it that way, you're not fully submerging it in water and you're not able to properly clean it. And you're cleaning it more so because it gets rid of some of the excess starch, but I haven't actually played around with it enough. And then once we do that, we're gonna mix in some tomato paste and put some bay leaves on top, and we'll just get this done in advance. So this is just ready to go for when we need it, okay? Excellent. Let's get that done. And while I'm washing the rice, I'm gonna have it on my phone. No, we're not seasoning the rice at all. And basically, this is not traditional. And the way that people cook rice varies from culture to culture. For example, in a lot of Middle Eastern rice dishes, the rice itself would be seasoned, right? If we're talking about pilafs or if we're talking about Mediterranean dishes. We are sort of applying the Asian mentality, right? Or the Japanese, the Chinese mentality of we don't have a seasoned rice, everything else is going to season it. So we'll have like a really spicy, salty salsa. We'll have, of course, the cabbage slaw. We also have some beans that I'm gonna reheat that we made a couple of streams ago that I have in my freezer. And the rice itself is gonna be kept intentionally bland so that it is a blank, it's like a blank canvas. It's like a blank slate. So it's the intentional omission of any salt or pepper or seasonings. We're just making it aromatic and giving it some color and flavor with the tomato paste and the bay leaves. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna open up Twitch chat on my phone. I'm gonna just show you guys the vegetables and the chorizo in the meantime. I'm opening up Twitch chat so I could interact and talk with you guys while I step out and do this. Because my back is to the camera and I don't have a sync camera or anything. Although, that would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? I think it'd be pretty cool. So, feel free to entertain me while we wash the rice. And we're gonna wash it until it's basically clear. And, wait, I have some chicken broth. I'm gonna cook this in chicken broth. Whoa, why didn't I think of that? Okay, actually, we have a little step. We need to warm this up because this is currently in its gelatinous form. So, so like a neutral blade rice, like a canvas. Yes, that's what we're going for. Here's what I'm gonna do, my friends. I want to actually cook this in chicken stock. The chicken stock I was originally just going to make the tinga in, and then I remember that I have this thing. So, let's talk about this for a second. This is currently in a very, very gelatinous form. Okay, we don't need to make it hot. We just need it warmed up enough that we know how much we're adding in. Okay, so I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna toss this into the microwave. I have excess chicken broth. I'm gonna get rid of it, and anything left over will go into the tinga itself. I'm gonna microwave it just so that it's nice and warm again, so it's nice and loose, loosey-goosey. Okay? Microwaves are fine. You gotta know what you're doing with them. For example, one of my favorite implementations and usages of a microwave, okay, is for reheating rice. If you ever want to reheat rice, there is no better device than a microwave. You don't necessarily always have to be like, oh, I have leftover rice, time to make fried rice. No, you put it in a bowl, you do 15 to 30 seconds, mix it 15 to 30 seconds, mix it 15 seconds. You do it that way, you will have evenly cooked rice that won't be overcooked at all. Okay? So I'm going to toss this in just so that it melts. Throw it in there for like 45 seconds, just so that all the gelatin, relaxes a little bit. And I'm going to wash this rice, and I have the chat open, so please entertain me simultaneously. But as much as I loathe the way that people use microwaves, or let's say, I'm going to call somebody out right now. Mr. David Chang, the guy that started Momofuku. Momofuku, of course, is a very big restaurant group and was super, super influential. Somewhere between like the 2010s to 2020, maybe 2005 to 2020, and not as influential anymore these days. And Mr. David Chang loves, in his cooking videos, to show how many different things he can microwave at once. He microwaves chicken thighs and vegetables, and he does it all. And it's all very sad and boiled. Okay? Yes, it's easier to do things that way, but I don't really love that mentality. You love David Chang? I don't. Have you seen his YouTube channel? That is a man who is exhausted and has sold out. Selling you canned products. I do not love David Chang at all. He's one of the people I detest the most. And also, to my understanding, with a couple of interviews of his staff, he contributed a lot to a lot of toxic and abusive restaurant culture. Okay? And then he was able to later admit it and be like, take like this really big stance of like, I'm different now, I changed. I really contributed to this awful thing. And kind of benefited from it in a weird way. Anyhow, we're washing this rice. We're getting it done. We're using the microwave for what it does best, which is reheating something simple. Okay? It reheats things quite well if you know what you're doing and you know how to mix things and you know how not to heat it for too long. What we won't ever do is cook vegetables or cook chicken in it today. Oh, that sounds lovely. That sounds incredible, in fact. Okay, the rice, we've almost done washing. We just need to get rid of any excess liquid, any excess starch still left in there that's still hanging out. Really agitate it, really wash it up good. Anyhow, that's my opinion on David Chang. In fact, his YouTube videos, I think I did a couple of streams where I watched them. I'm sorry, Dr. Slow, that I keep talking shit about things that you like. But, yeah, I am not crazy about him. Not crazy about him at all. Okay, that's enough washing on the rice. We're going to get all of that water up because we're not cooking this in water. We're cooking this in chicken stock and tomato paste. It's going to be awesome. So, was it, what do you mean it was a bite too strong? Like it was too tough? Is that what you're trying to say? Okay, broth. That's been reheated. Let's go ahead and take that out. All that we needed to do was just get it to a state where we can just pour it over stuff. All right. And you're going to see how much water we do. We want a nice sticky-ish rice texture today. Let's see. Let's give it a little shake. Let's give it a little adjustment. Not enough broth. Give it a little adjustment. Let's see. That's if I wanted like a very firm granular rice. And now I'm going to do a splash more. We can actually probably do another splash. Let's see. How's that looking? That's enough water for me. That's perfect. I'm going to show you. Okay. And now I'm going to mix in some tomato paste so it's like fully integrated inside. Okay? And I got to say, the best thing to ever come to Western supermarkets is tomato paste in a tube. Because this was only something I have seen in European cooking videos for a very long time. And maybe in the last 5 years or so, I would see this stuff in a tube like this. So, nice big squeeze. You don't have to do too much. This is mostly just to color everything. We're going to mix it through, get rid of any big pockets of it. Yes, and I don't like it. I'm going to tell you why. The knuckle thing is like relative to the size of your finger. I do it not to my knuckle. I do it halfway up my fingernail. That's a texture I like on my rices. So technically, yes, I do. And I do apply it just in my own way. I'm looking for it to go halfway up my fingernail. And you can play with that. There's no golden ratio for this kind of thing. Okay? Where does one find tube tomato paste? In a store. I don't know. That's where I found it. But yes, the more water you add, the more mushy it's going to be, and the less water you add, the more granular it's going to be. If you're doing a fried rice, you want barely any water above the rice. I mean, barely. You still have to account for evaporation. If you're doing something like a rice bowl, we do a little bit more. But this is still a fairly granular rice, and that's how you'll never have mushy rice again. Never ever think about your liquids as ratios. Never do, 2 cups of water to 1 cup of rice. Nonsense. It is absolutely nonsense. It will not help you. You will get mushy, overcooked rice that has way too much water inside of it. Okay? It is unpleasant. It is actively unpleasant. So, it's a general rule. Yeah. And you just play around with it until you figure out how much liquid you like in your rice. So, tomato paste, chicken broth, and now we'll also throw in my friends. Not my friends, I'm going to throw in some bay leaves. Okay? A couple of bay leaves, and you need enough that you taste them. Okay? People are like, oh, you can't taste bay leaves. And these, I don't like mixing in. Count how many you put in, and then you can easily take it out after. We're going to do 40 bay leaves, like so on top. And we're going to set that onto the heat. We're going to bring it up to a boil, drop to a simmer. You guys know how that story goes. I'm just going to show you guys that right now. All stove, and guys, nobody makes better stovetop rice than me. I'm just going to say right now. I make really good stovetop rice, and I do it consistently. So, bring it up to a boil, drop to a simmer, cook for 15 minutes. I'm going to throw that onto the heat right now. We just got to get a lid ready for it too. This, I can fully set aside now. And we're going to make the salsa portion of the salad, okay? All right, let me just grab a lid for that, for when we need it, so that I'm not scrambling around and finding it last second or anything. I apologize for bragging about it, but I really do make consistently perfect, like actually just perfect stovetop rice. Oh wait, I have this lid. That'll do just fine. Okay, sweet. So, we gotta blend. That's going. That's currently cooking. I gotta wipe down my station one more time. Cause there's some like broth and shit. And now, let's blend. That's what we gotta do, my friends. Want to blend up all of that salsa. We don't want any chunks in there. And normally, people would kind of advise against blending the tomatillos at the state, but remember, the salsa is going to cook down a hell of a lot more. Normally people don't really like the taste of raw tomatillos. What onions do I use? I use red onions. Red onions are quite common in Mexico, but you can really use any onions that you want. Okay. Let me just adjust this. These are the wet towels that keep everything nice and stable. And you want your towels nice and flat on your board. I have 3 wet paper towels here. This is how you stop your board from sliding around. Okay? And now, let's go ahead and throw everything inside. So those are the chilies that have now thoroughly soaked through. We have the onion. We have the serrano. Onion. Serrano. Tomatillos. In. And we're going to blend this all, and we're going to get a beautiful salsa, my friends. And that is what the chicken and the chorizo are going to cook in, okay? And again, nicely charred, nicely burnt outside of that skin. Also, I do think it's very entertaining that somebody came in here, told me about what I was doing wrong, and then they got corrected, and then they didn't say anything else after that. Guys, I don't mind it when you suggest something to me, or you think I might be doing something wrong. In fact, I encourage you to. I don't mind that. But don't just straight up tell me you're doing this wrong. You can ask me why I've done something wrong first. But if anybody ever has a suggestion or an idea, I don't want to make it so that it's like a hostile environment for you to tell me that. I encourage it. In fact, I've had chat help me out with the tortillas that I did last time too. That was really nice. I was able to really figure that out because of them. Okay. I encourage that. So I don't want that to be the precedent that that's not permitted. But you will probably be wrong. That's all. But I encourage it. I encourage the discourse. Okay, guess what? The water for the rice is boiling. We'll drop the heat, lower it to a simmer. and cook it for 15 minutes. 15 minutes, 16 minutes, something like that. Lately, I've been cooking my rices a little bit longer, and I've noticed it helps to thoroughly get it done. Okay. What about the burnt parts of the tomatillos? Why do I let them on? Because I want that smokiness. I want that smokiness inside. I want that flavor. I'm telling you, it is a fundamental component. It is almost an ingredient. It is an essential flavor in so much Mexican cooking. And while this is not necessarily traditional in a tinga itself, tinga is usually made with tomatoes, not tomatillos. I've seen tinga be made with tomatillos. That's all it is. In fact, you'd probably Google it. I've had green tingas before. Yeah, people use tomatillos. I had it growing up. I remember at like a school function, there was like a friend of mine, and we had to like bring in like some like cultural dishes. His family was Mexican, and he brought in some tinga. That was my first time ever having tinga. I was like 14 years old. So that's why. It usually has it, but tinga, all that it really means is a shredded chicken. And you can kind of play around with some of the flavors. You can play around with the chilies. You can play around with the actual tomatoes and tomatillos themselves. As for what type it is, it's kind of the thing where like every household, to my understanding, has a slightly different one. But I've seen green ones. And if it's green, it has tomatillos. And so we went with tomatillos and the serranos. So my friends, I am going to blend all this up. Hello. Lovely to have you. Let's blend it up. Let's get it done. And then we got to cook stuff. I'm attaching my stick blender to my powder strip. It's a little bit inconvenient, but I'll get it done. Okay. I hope that satisfies your question. And if somebody can correct me on that and give me a reason why, I'd love to hear it. Okay. Here's what's going to happen. All of these components, we're going to smush it down. We're going to make sure that the stick blender is thoroughly inside so it doesn't splash up. And now we can make this lovely salsa. Hello, Pink Eggo. Hope you're having a lovely day today. We're blending up the salsa at the moment. We want this thing nice and smooth, okay? We want to absolve it of any chunks. Kind of? Well, I hope it gets better. I'm happy to see you. We are blending this down fully. Okay? What about salt in it? I'm not too concerned with the salt right now because we'll just be able to season everything later. Because it's all going to get seasoned in the pot itself, so I'm just controlling the amount of salt we're adding at this stage. And it's a good question. Lovely question. Okay. We'll keep this going a little bit longer. I'm still seeing some big chunks in there, but this is almost at the texture I want it to be. Pump it through, get all the seeds broken up. Okay, that, I think, maybe we can go a little bit more. A little bit further. Takes a little bit of time. That is perfect. Nice and smooth. And this is what the chicken and the chorizo are gonna cook in once they fry up a little bit, okay? Just gonna get this off. Gonna go ahead and throw this into the sink right now. Just clear my board of any excess dishes that I don't need. Everybody following along? Everybody, got this? Good. I made tinga on stream once or twice already. This is truly one of my favorite dishes. And it does have a lot of room for variation, and you get to play around with it. Okay? That's the beauty of something like this. So, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this aside. I no longer need my blending for anything else. Yeah, chef, happy to hear it. Okay, everybody, recap. Let's talk about what we've accomplished. So, first thing, we're making a cabbage cilantro slaw. We have cabbage sitting with a bunch of salt. Speaking of which, it's time just to give it a mix. You want to mix it through and you want to see how much water we have extracted out of it. So, we're working on the cabbage slaw. Look at this, look how wet it is. You can see, you can literally press that water out. It is dripping, okay? All of that would have gone into your slaw if you did not do this step. And it's also nicely seasoned. So we're just mixing it around. And we're gonna let it do its thing. And we wanna press out that liquid so it's not too salty. Then, we made the salsa for today. This was the tomatillos, this was the serrano, this was the chipotles, garlic, and onion. Okay, the red onion. We have some chorizo that's going to go into the tinga today. We have rice on the stove at the moment. Let's head over to the rice. I'm going to show you. The rice is currently cooking. It's cooking in some chicken stock and tomato paste and bay leaves. And we're keeping it intentionally unsalted so everything else can compensate with salt as needed. And then this is me. Hi. I believe we can actually properly begin cooking everything that we need to. The question is, do I want freshly toasted cumin? I want some freshly toasted cumin. Let's do this right now. You carry the gene? I'm sorry to hear it. All right, my friends, freshly toasted cumin time. This is going to go directly into the tinga itself. I love doing freshly toasted spices. This is no exception, okay? So, nice dry pan, like so. We're going to go ahead and grab some cumin seeds. Wherever I put them last. Aha, found them. I want a bunch of cumin. Ooh, I'm almost out of cumin. I gotta fix that. I love cumin and I eat it all the time. And then we're gonna go over to the stove. And we're gonna toss this on the heat and we're gonna be constantly moving it around once it heats up. It's going right now. It's okay for it to go like this right now. We're just toasting it. We're toasting it until we see just a little bit of smoke. And we're doing this so we get a lot of flavor out of it. Using whole spices, I have to explain the beauty of whole spices. So, you need to understand how spices go bad, or rather, how do they lose flavor. And you might think, oh, they're dried goods. They're never gonna go bad. Well, when exposed to two factors, oxygen and light, spices will naturally lose a little bit of flavor. It reacts to it. When it's ground up, and you have all of the volatile compounds that are coming into contact with either light or oxygen or something else, over time, it's going to become less and less and less potent. When you have whole spices, it is unprocessed. It is in its most protected state. And we're not exposing the inner bits of it to unnecessary oxygen and unnecessary light. So as a result, it keeps its flavor for a lot longer, and toasting it brings out that flavor. Toasting is how we get the job done. Okay? That's toasting up nicely. I'm seeing not enough smoke come out of it. We're gonna keep it going a little bit longer. Okay? That's right. Oxygen kills people, especially concentrated oxygen. There was a whole thing about a diver that died because he thought that he could breathe in concentrated oxygen. He couldn't. I think it was like O3 or something. Ozone? I don't know. Anyhow. So here's what we do. We go over to a mortar and pestle. We dump all of these seeds out. And it's clean. Well, let's let that cool off and I'll put it away. And here's what we do. We take this, we smash it down, we take it, we smash it down. And then we roll all of it around and we'll get a nice beautiful powder, okay? You can smell the cumin. It's a wonderful smell. Yes, that's why I try my best not to keep pre-ground cumin. I don't try to keep those kinds of pre-ground spices. We have pepper grinders, right? That's what pepper grinders are for. So that you don't keep just powdered black pepper. It loses all of its taste. Okay. Move it around, shake it up a little bit. Want a nice powder, okay? I'm gonna just transfer this onto a dish that'll be easier for like everything to come off. Little tiny plate. And what's really nice, by the way, about mortar and pestles like these is that if you keep them dry, you don't really have to wash them off. I'm not making pesto in this or anything. I'm not doing anything crazy like that. I'm able to keep it really nice and simple. And all I have to do is wipe it off. Okay. Let's get all of this in there. And this is the cumin that's going to go into the dish. I love cumin. Can't get enough of it. Does pepper irritate your eyes? Only if it gets in my eyes. Not really, though. Unless, okay, here's my one exception. I will never make chili powders in this. And I'll never make chili powders in a spice grinder either. And the reason for that is because it does get up in the air and then that has a really good chance of irritating you. I don't like doing that. So instead what I do, as I showed you with the chipotles, I'm not making a chipotle powder. All I do is I soak it in hot liquid and I make a paste. At home, I never will make my own chili powder for that one explicit reason. It gets up in the air, it gets caught in your eyes, and it is extremely, extremely unpleasant. I've tried to do that once. I tried to do that in a blender. It was a mistake. So chili powder does that, yes. But this is not chili powder, right? This is just a little bit of cumin. Okay. Cleaned it off, wiped down my tool, and that can just get stowed away. So all the prep work is done. We can now begin actually cooking the tinga itself. So let's head on over to the stove. I have my nice little pot right here. This is what everything is going to cook down on. We're going to throw in a little bit of oil, very little. The chorizo is going to compensate the rest of it. Yes, I have. I should put it on my throne. Yeah, that would be a good investment. A little bit of avocado oil. Because the first thing we're going to cook in this is going to be the chorizo, and then we'll see if we can get any color on the chicken breast itself. Okay? The chorizo is going to release a bunch of fat. We want a really, really nice hot pan for that, and then we scoop it out, and we throw in the chicken breast until the bottom gets too dark. And then we pour in the salsa, we pour in the chicken breast, we pour in the spice, and it all cooks down together, and then we take out the chicken breast, shred it up, and put it back in. So that is happening now. Also, the rice is almost done. It has about 3 minutes on it left over. Once it's done, we take out the bay leaves, we toss those aside, we mix up the rice, and then we let it chill until we're ready to eat. It's gonna be good. And while we get to the actual braising stage of the tinga, we can work on everything else. And the everything else in this case is just gonna be the components for the salad. So we just have to get rid of the water from the cabbage, we have to slice up the cilantro, we have to slice up the onion for it, and some scallion for it. I'm gonna take the scallions out now. It'll be good. I also have some radishes. I guess I could use those. Thinking. Decisions. Where are my scallions? And my cilantro. Okay, I'll keep them in the fridge. Heating up the oil, chorizo goes in first, take it out, fry up the chicken breasts, and then we let that all cook together. It's gonna be good. And so, by the way, I'm gonna talk about something. There's a very specific reason why I blended the salsa now and not later. Let's talk about this. I'm gonna show you. Here's my salsa. Why do we do this now and not later? Well, the reason for this is because while traditionally people would have like whole tomatoes, whole onions, whole garlic, whatever cooking in there, they would all be able to blend it up really nice and easily once they take the meat out. Because of the fact that we're going to be cooking this with the chorizo. The chorizo is going to be a bunch of little tiny particles of ground meat. It's going to be a bunch of little particles of ground sausage. We don't want to blend that up. It'll make a very mealy, uncomfortable texture, right? Some of those will inevitably find its way into the salsa itself. So we blend everything that wants to be blended up beforehand, and then we never have to scoop anything out after. Okay? It's blended up, it's made into a beautiful paste. It's going to combine with the chicken stock, it's going to combine with everything that it needs to. And we don't risk accidentally blending up any of the chorizo in the process. And now we're just waiting for the oil to get really nice and hot. We want to get some good color on the chorizo. We want to take it out and cook the chicken breasts. So it's a very small optimization that I did, but one that I think is essential for this specific order of operations. Okay? It just works out this way. Works out the best. Everybody follow? Good. Oil is going. Oil is nice and hot at the moment, but not hot enough. We want that good color. No, there is no such thing as the last question. You're welcome and encouraged to add as many as you want. Oh, but you have to go. Okay. Do I use sugar to neutralize some of the spiciness? No. And I'm going to explain to you why. I, on a very basic principle, almost never cook with sugar. This idea that, oh, the rice is done. Let me just clear that off. As a principle, I almost never cook with sugar unless I absolutely have to. I think this idea of needing to balance things, or like, oh, the contrast of the sugar to the acidity, the sugar to the salt, is unnecessary, and it is something that our palates have been conditioned to prefer. There's a lot of natural sweetness that is occurring with this because we have onions and we also have tomatoes. And I think overall, as a society, especially in American society, we've been conditioned for things to be really, really sweet from a young age. And even if it tastes better that way, I abstain from doing so because we eat so much sugar in our diets. It comes in so many different places. So I don't add sugar. In fact, I almost never add sugar to anything unless I'm doing like some sort of like an authentic dish. And I, in that case, I like respect it and I do it, and then I see how needed it is. For example, when I was doing Filipino adobo, I realized, wow, it really benefited from the sugar. So, that aside, let's get the chorizo and we throw it into the pot. And we're gonna let it cook without mixing it through too much. We do live in a society. Beautiful point. While that's going, we're gonna mix it up in a second. We just wanna get some color off of it first. See you next stream. Bye, chat. Thank you for stopping by, Jack. So, my friends, take a look at the rice. This is our tomato broth, chicken rice. I'm gonna just take out the bay leaves. They've done their job. Why am I using my fingers? Why am I not using the device that I'll even be stirring this with? I like using chopsticks or a very tiny, cute wooden spatula that I have. Okay, in my possession. Lovely. Let's grab that, and you want to stir it up so that it's able to almost like rest and soak up its water evenly. This is a rice. Look at this, perfectly cooked stovetop rice. Perfectly cooked. Mix it up. Get all those brown bits from the bottom. It's good stuff. It's really, really simple tomato rice. And it's just going to be the base for the meal that we make today. Mix it up. Spread it out. And that's it. That's all it needs. And now we can set it aside. Pack it down nice and tight is actually the last step. And if I would taste this, it is unseasoned. Remember that. It's just salt and chicken stock. But even then, it's already quite tasty. So, we gotta mix up the chorizo. Let's head to the stove before that side burns. I just want to get some good color on that one side before I started smushing it around. And it is getting nice and crispy. Smell that cooking chorizo is beautiful. So, I'm going to explain to you why I did it this way. Here is one mistake that people make when they cook ground meat. They put it in, and then they go, okay, now I have to mash all of this up. And when you do that, when you mash it all up, any attempt at getting any kind of meaningful color, any attempt at getting any kind of meaningful caramelization completely out the window. When you start mixing it up way too soon, what you've done is you start pressing it and releasing and smushing it and getting all the water out of it before it had even a second to develop some crust. What is the point of even sauteing it? At that point, you may as well have fucking boiled it. Doing it like this, by first letting it stew for a second, and then we mix it up and break it up, we'll still get the small particles, don't worry. But we gave it a chance. We gave it a second to develop some color. Okay? It cools off the pan when you put cold meat onto a hot skillet. It's essential. It is absolutely essential. And now, look at this, look at this. It's getting nice and crispy because we've done it this way. And now we can take a second to chop things up and it might release its water and that will be fine. But because we did it like this, it's actually able to fry and saute and not boil in its own juices. We want the caramelization. We want the crispiness. We want that delicious flavor. Okay? It's very important. It's essential. You're guilty of that mistake, but you know why? It's not that you're guilty of it. It's that nobody has taught you differently. Nobody has shown you the way that it could be. Nobody has shown you the light. We don't need to cook this for too long because it's going to cook more later. We're just developing some color on it and some color on the bottom. Okay? So this is the point that I would take it out. It's not fully cooked, but I just want to now cook the chicken. All right? So this is where I use this little guy. I want to keep all of that fat in the pan. I want to keep that fat. It's going to be delicious. And that is going to be the lubrication for the chicken so that we don't have to add any additional oil. We're using what we have naturally occurring. In fact, I think this tool kind of sucks. I'm going to use this. Even if I do scoop out some of the oil, it will be plenty for the meat that is soon to come. Okay. Let's get that chorizo scooped out. Let's get that chorizo scooped out. Ah, I dropped a little bit. That's okay. Get it all scooped out, my friends. Okay, make sure that oil gets nice and hot again. We've just released a bunch of hot matter from it. We want that oil to get nice and smoky. And then we're gonna drop the chicken in. And again, I know I put it back into the same bowl that it came from. Don't worry about cross-contamination. It's all gonna cook more. It's all gonna cook together, all right? That oil, we're gonna get nice and hot. In fact, I might not even need this spatula anymore because I'm gonna just transfer over to tongs now. So that's just gone. That has done its job. We got some good crispiness, we got some good color out of all the chorizo, okay? Wonderful. Where are my tongs? Are they in the dishwasher? Question mark? No. Where are they at? Found you. Okay, and now in all of that chorizo fat, we're going to cook these chicken breasts and we're gonna hit it with some salt. Again, don't worry about evenly salting this. It's all gonna get shredded down. It's all gonna cook in a bunch of liquid. Okay, there it goes. We'll hit it with some salt now. Just develop some color and then we're gonna hit it with everything else. Hello, Sudan. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. It is lovely to see you. Okay, this I can set aside. I'm just putting away some dishes while I have a second of time. And then once everything is boiling and cooking along, oh, spent the last 5 hours doing that? Ooh, that is a lot. Also, hello, Catman. I don't think I did, Sudan. Where did you send it? You sent it on Twitter? Okay, let's hit this with some salt. And we'll also salt that other side. But this doesn't really matter, IMO at this stage. That is cooking chicken breast. That is what it looks like. The only thing you want to pay attention to, you want to make sure that the bottom of this pan doesn't get too dark. That's why we're flipping this so early. You still have all of the spices and stuff from the chorizo. We have to be mindful of that. We don't want it to burn. You might have. I might have just not checked my DM requests. So again, not a lot of color on the chicken. Normally I'd like to cook this with the chicken skin. I don't think I saw that. I'm not sure what you're talking about. It sounds like you're putting yourself down. That's what that sounds like. And that was your food. But yeah, I don't think I've seen it. Okay? This is going. It's looking great. Chicken breast versus thighs, good question. It is the texture of shredded chicken breast. Think of a chicken thigh. Chicken thighs are really, really nice and juicy and fatty. But think of the texture of a shredded chicken breast. A shredded chicken breast is really, really tender, and it is like ideal in stuff like salads. Once you cook at that point, it does get dry, but you're able to open up the texture and you're able to make it moist again because of all that surface area. The reason we don't do thighs is because they don't really shred that easily until you really heavily cook it. And I don't prefer the thighs cooked that way. It's quite appetizing, thank you. So chicken breasts are a very intentional choice. It's the same reason why we use flank steak in a ropa vieja, of tender, lean meat, but the fact that it's lean allows it to shred in a very particular way. And I love the way that chicken breast shreds up for something like this. And that's why we don't do thighs. I've done this with thighs, and I don't like the texture of shredded chicken thighs nearly as much. Okay, my friends, this to me has got an adequate color. I think that's enough, because the bottom of the pan has started to get too dark. We don't want to burn any of this. So here's what we do. We go in with all of our salsa, all of it. It's gonna splatter, it's gonna splash. We turn down that heat. We're going to clean out the salsa container with the chicken stock. Okay? And we can fully get rid of that now. And then we're gonna throw everything else in just a second. We're basically deglazing the bottom. We're getting rid of anything that was stuck to the bottom of the pan. It's still a little too hot. We're going to simmer all of this. Just you watch, just you wait. And we're gonna simmer this for about 15 minutes or so. 10, 15 minutes. We don't wanna overcook the chicken breasts. We wanna still keep them really nice and juicy when we shred them. Okay? The chorizo going in now. Lovely. And then we'll do the rest of the chicken stock. I'm just getting rid of everything as I go, just to make my life a lot easier, and then I clean it. Okay? Thank you for explaining your reasoning, chef. Of course, Dr. Slowbro. That is exactly what I'm here for. And then a bunch of chicken stock, and the more we reduce it, the less liquidy it's going to be. Okay? Audio Murphy. Okay, Audio Murphy, I don't like those kinds of comments. If you do that again, I will be a little bit upset about it, okay? Please, let's not do that. I'm here, I'm cooking. Let's not interact with me that way. That is uncomfortable. So, please, and thank you. Okay. Also, don't forget the cumin that we toasted. And we'll also throw in some oregano. If you have a Mexican oregano, do that. Otherwise, plain old oregano will do just fine. Get that heat back up. Where's my oregano? I have it in here somewhere. I have it in here somewhere. I know that for a fact. I have ground oregano, but I don't want ground oregano. I want some oregano leaves. And I don't know where it is. Oh, modern day tragedy. Ah, I found it. Okay. Sorry about that. Moving on at Sonic speed, that's right. So, some oregano. Don't worry about getting too much in there. We're still gonna have some oregano going into the salad itself. Okay? And now we'll worry about the salad while this is happening. We wanna bring this up to a boil, drop to a simmer, cook for 15 minutes. And again, this chicken breast is still totally raw. Alright? We just wanted to get some color, some last second caramelization on it. I prefer cooking. I hate baking. Hate baking. I'm gonna explain to you why. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for my rant about this? I don't think you're ready. I'm going to talk to you right now about why I hate the way that we bake in 2023, in this day and age. Are you ready for this? I don't think you're ready for this. I need to hear a yes, chef. Or rather, I hate pastry. I need to hear a yes, chef from everybody. Please and thank you. It's nothing about how technical it is. It's nothing about that. You all ready? So, in fact, let's go to my front camera while I talk about this. This is why I hate pastry. This is why I hate baking. You know why? It's about ingredient focus, and why I love bread baking in concept and in theory. Think about it this way. Pastry. Aside from the nutritional value, the complete lack thereof, and the sheer amounts of sugar that you would be consuming, the ingredients have no taste of that original ingredient, and they have been processed until they become a very single, specific, isolated taste or texture. Flour, completely reduced of any of its grain, any of its origin, any of its bran, any of its germ, becomes this white, super processed product that doesn't taste like anything. Sugar doesn't taste like cane. All it does is taste like sucrose. And you combine all of these different things, all of these super fucking homogeneous products that came from God knows where, that traveled thousands of miles to find a place in front of you, so that you can then make. It's very product first. It's not ingredient focused. And that's changing with some fancy bakeries. But the way that most people bake is very product focused. It is about how do you get a pretty looking cake? How do you get this perfect texture all the way throughout? How do you get all these different things, but none of the ingredients shine? You have no love in those kinds of ingredients. And to do that, because of how many ingredients baking something actually takes, is absolutely ridiculous. And so many of those things on a chemical level are actually interfering with your texture. You need that kind of processed flour to get that soft and spongy of a cake, for instance, right? And that's why I don't like it. I don't like it because there is no soul, there is no hint of the ingredients. And sometimes they do that, but it's all about making an extract of something. It's all about how do we process this, take all the pulp out, reduce this and make a syrup out of it. Even if it is a good ingredient, so much waste has actually gone into it to make it the way that it is. And that's why I hate pastries and I hate baking. Now, that's why I love bread baking. Let's take a baguette. You know what's in a baguette? Let me tell you. Number 1, fresh yeast. Number 2, flour. Number 3, salt, a little bit of it. Number 4, water. That's what's in a baguette. And you know what that allows you to do? When you have that kinds of ingredients, you get to go to a really good farm and buy some excellent quality flour. You get to buy some excellent quality wheat. And then you get to taste it, and it's minimalistic. And everything you can trace the origin to, and it's ingredient focused when it's bread baking. Think of a focaccia. Think about the really nice fucking olive oil that you're using. Think about the olives that you're putting in it, or the fresh herbs. Or again, using that really good quality flour. You get to taste every single component. I love bread baking. I love bread baking, and I hate pastry. I hate pastry because it has no soul. It has no origin. It's all canned and processed ingredients that don't taste like anything. Okay. That's my rant. I hope that answers your question. I'm really good at it. I'm fantastic at it. I will make the best cookies that you've ever had, but I also don't eat any sugar, and I don't like the concept of it, but I make fantastic cookies. I make the best you've ever had. This needs to cook for 10 minutes. 10 minutes at a simmer, and we're just gonna give it a flip every so often, just to make sure it's also cooking evenly while we got it, okay? 10 minutes, and then we shred it up. I hope that answers your question. Bread baking is just really hard. It's a lot of theory. Do I have any recommendations of bakers then? Individual ones? No, I'm afraid not. I'm sorry. I wish I knew more about that myself. Very informative rant? Well, I'm happy to help. It is a philosophical issue, above all else. That's what this is. Okay, cabbage. Let's look at the cabbage. Look how much this is reduced just by salting it and letting it sit. And now we're going to squeeze the hell out of it. And put it onto a separate plate while we do this, I think. Yeah, that would be good. We're going to squeeze it and put it on a separate plate. And then put it back in. So, cabbage. Grab it. You're going to section it off to one side, and you're going to press it like this. And then we're going to take a nice handful, however much can comfortably fit in your hand. And you see how much water we squeeze? Look how much water. Look at that. Look at all that. All of that came out of the cabbage. All of that came out of the cabbage, and all of it is filled with salt. This is how you stop from getting a super salty salad. All of that would have ended up in a cabbage slaw if we didn't get rid of it like this. Don't worry about getting too crazy with it, as long as we get the majority of it out. Look how much. Makes a hedgehog think of all the pastries he's consumed. I love the fact that you talk like Sonic. It is great. I had a guy in high school once that also did that. Hello. Okay, sweet. Let's get all that cabbage gathered up again. We're just gonna keep on squeezing this. We're gonna get all that liquid out. That has no place in this salad. However much comfortably fits in your hand at a time. Okay? Okay, Audio Murphy. Come on, Audio Murphy. That is really, really uncomfortable. How do I do this? Is it a mute? How do you temporarily kick somebody? Is it /kick? What's it called? Murphy, it does make people uncomfortable when you do shit like that. I'll figure it out after. I'm just squeezing the cabbage. Stop being too slow. Okay. Alright. I just have a question, why? Before I mute you or some shit. A question, why do you do that? I might have salted my hair? I don't think I did. Oh, salad in my hair. I have salad in my hair? Do I have cabbage in my hair? Holy shit, I have cabbage in my hair. You're absolutely right. Okay. This is a little bit annoying. You have to use your hands for this. You have to use your strength. I don't know how that happened. Thank you for the heads up. Look how much water is coming out of it. Shit. How the fuck did this happen? Am I free? Is it all gone? Thank you guys. I'm squeezing cabbage water out and this is what happens to me. Can't believe this. Okay. I have about one more handful left and then we'll gather the rest of that up. Guys, look at all that water. Look at all that water. Look at all of that water that would have ended up into the slaw. This is why you have shitty watery slaws, because you didn't get rid of all of this. We did this in advance. We did this, what, an hour and a half ago? And now that lets us clean all of this up. So let's get the remaining little bits of cabbage so that we're not wasting anything. I've stolen its precious water. Okay, and that I'm gonna go ahead and toss out. All of that is gone. It's gone skis. We have no use for this, okay? And it's all really, really salty too. It's killing with it a lot of the excess salt that we did not need in the slaw to begin with. So I'm getting all of it out, dumping it down the sink. I'm just gonna wipe out this bowl again. And now, if I taste that cabbage, it should be nicely salted. And it is, but not overly salty, because we squeezed the ever-living shit out of it. We won't need any more salt in the salad. It did the job. Okay, dump it in. Look. Okay, take a look. That's all of this cabbage. All of it. We squeezed the ever-living shit out of it, and that is what it looks like now. You remember how much volume it had before? Those days are gone, my friends. Those days are gone. Okay. So, here's the deal. We gotta chop up the rest of the stuff now. I'm gonna flip the chicken again, just so it's evenly cooking on all sides, on all fronts. And now, we gotta make the salad itself. So, I'm just gonna get rid of any of these last remaining bits that are occupying space. Here's what needs to go into the salad. We have some serrano chilies. We have some serrano peppers, right? Or just one of them. We're going to get rid of the seed, and we're gonna slice it up really nice and thin. Ooh, back on with the gloves. I go through a lot of these when I do the cooking streams. It's so that my hands look cool for all of you. Guys, little update. Chicken tinga is going, the rice is already done. Last thing left is just to shred the chicken once it's done cooking. Okay? So, serrano. Let's show you what we do. Take the top off. Take it off. It's gone. Next, you're going to go down the middle of the serrano, just like this. You're going to go into the waste bowl. I have gloves for decades, that's right. So, and then we just peel all of these out. We just rip all of these out. This is where the spice is. We don't need this, especially going into the salad. Okay? Yeah. It is pretty necessary for me, unfortunately. I hate being so wasteful with things. Big Loves is profiting off of eczema. Just brush off my hands with all that excess spice, all those excess seeds. All right, now the serrano's naked. They've been gutted. And now, my friends, here's what we do. Really thin. Really, really thin. As thin as you can humanly go. Look how thin. Look how thin. Paper thin. Because we want these to evenly integrate into the salad. But we don't want any big pieces of serrano. We want it to just get in there with everything else. Look at this. Lovely. Nice and patiently, as long as it takes. Leftover sub sandwich in the fridge at work? No, it's so over. It's never been more over. Okay, take a look. All these serranos are nicely sliced up. You know what? I love it when subs get like all fucking soaked in. It's my favorite. When they get like nice and soggy and everything just penetrates through it. It's the best. I'm trying my best not to touch my face, but my hair is fair game through these hands. Okay, my friends, the chicken is about to be pulled out. We need to cool it down before we shred it up. So it's going to go onto a plate and cool down, and it'll just make our life a lot easier. And the salsa portion is going to keep cooking so that we get it really nice and saucy. Nice and saucy, nice and thick. Right? Because we don't want the sauce to be too liquidy. I've said sauce way too many times in the last few minutes. Let's go ahead and grab a plate. We can kill the kitchen timer now. That's poached for like 10 minutes, right? And now we can just grab a chicken breast. We can grab a chicken breast and we will thoroughly cool this off. Let's scrape up the sides. Right? We want to make sure that the salsa is full of flavor, that we're getting everything back into it. Right? So get all the roasted, reduced salsa, all the bits of chorizo, scrape up the bottom. And we want this to get nice and thick. We can also probably taste this in a second. Get it all in there. Lovely. Okay, the chicken is cooling off. So what's your guilty pleasure? I want to hear it. I love guilty pleasures when it comes to food. Okay. We're almost done, guys. Last thing. We gotta cook down the salsa. We gotta cool that off. We gotta finish up the salad. So, salad time. Here's what we do. Let's peel up this onion. Let's get rid of all that dried out part. I haven't been watching these sooner. Well, it does not matter. I'm just happy to have you now. None of that matters. All that matters is that you're here now with me. Okay, here's what we do. We're going to cut it in half like this, and then really nice thin shavings of onion, okay? You don't want this to have too much bite. Nice and thin. A mandolin would be ideal. Oh, okay, that is a guilty pleasure. There is a reason you feel guilt for that. There's a reason you feel guilty. Guilt is a powerful motivator. Guys, that's one of my favorite phrases, you know that? I love saying guilt is a powerful motivator. Sometimes that's what you need to change. I think you should feel bad. Oh my God. I tell that to people sometimes whenever they do some shit where they like wronged me in some way and they're like, oh, I feel bad about this. And I'm like, yeah, that's the point. You're supposed to feel bad so you don't do it again. That's not me being a manipulator. That's just, you know, we're using that for productivity. I'm not a manipulator, I swear. I just want people to learn from their mistakes. I won't guilt trip them, but if they have any innate sense of guilt, it's important they deal with that themselves. Okay. I gotta juice limes after. My favorite task. I hate juicing limes. Hate that shit. Okay. Let's get all that scooped up. Back into the salad it goes. Okay. Next. Chilies are sliced up. The cabbage is sliced. The onion is also sliced up. I don't want to do more onion. I think that's more than enough. We have to slice a bunch of cilantro now. Let's get a bunch of cilantro in this. I'm just going to take the whole thing out of the fridge. Once again, guys, my cilantro always pre-washed. Always pre-washed, always ready to go whenever I need it. Whenever I need her. And I do need her often. Store it in a container with a paper towel in there to keep it nice and fresh. Okay, and now here's what we got to do. We got to go through all of this and make sure we get out any of the big stems, because I hate the big stems. Hate them. Oh, Daramgar, the cilantro stems have so much flavor. I don't care. I don't like that texture. I do love cilantro though. Can't get enough of it. Oh, you're wasting it, Dara. Guys, I bought this for 70 cents. I bought a whole head of cilantro that I will probably not use all of. Don't worry, I would never side-eye my loyal fans. Never. Yes, it is. You guys can include the stems if you want to. I just don't like the stems in raw applications. I don't like the texture. It gets like a little fibrous. Not my thing. Some of the small ones are fine. I'm not going to get too crazy about it. The thin ones are okay. These big ones, though, they've got to go. Right? That's not my thing. It's not my cup of tea. Okay, let's just keep going through this. Let's keep going through this. Keep processing all of this. Look at this. I don't want that big-ass stem. Get him out of here. Pop, pop, pop. Off it goes. What's my cilantro deal? I can't say that on Twitch. Okay. Getting it all off. Getting all of it off. I'm not too hungry though, so I'm going to have a very small bowl today. I ate before the stream, as usual. All right. We're going to taste everything. We're going to taste that salsa to make sure it's fully seasoned, okay? Because remember, the rice is intentionally bland. We want to make sure the salad is seasoned. We want to make sure every other component is exactly the way that it needs to be. I'm going to give the salsa a little stir in the meantime, because that is boiling aggressively, and we're running the risk of burning the bottom. But at the moment, the chorizo is just getting nice and tender. Oh, it smells beautiful. It smells so warm. That is excellent. God, I love rice. I love rice so fucking much. I love chorizo, excuse me. Great. Yes, taste test as many things as possible when you cook. That's how you start building a sense of intuition. I've started doing that less lately, because guess what? I've been cooking for most of my life, and I've not needed to do that nearly as often. And you can also know there's times when to do it and times not to. So for example, I didn't add salt to the salsa itself. I added salt later on, because I don't know how much salt will actually come off the chicken. So a lot of getting better as a cook means you know when you don't have to season things, because you know exactly when there will be more of it included. You don't have to season everything in layers. Please consider that if you have something salty, salt tends to dissolve outwards as well. If it's going to be blended down, if it's going to be pureed, and sometimes you want it to fulfill mechanical functions too. Yeah, that's different. That's not like, you don't have to taste that. Okay. All right. Now, cilantro. Gather it all up. Gather it up. It's got places to be. We've got stuff to do with it. Gather all of it up right now. Nice little bundle. You guys following? Excellent. Happy to hear it. Nice little bundle. Take it all, and you're going to just slice it thinly, 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 thinly. Actually, I didn't do a tight enough bundle. We're going to take it, really bundle it up. Like this. Nice thin slices all the way through. That's what I want to hear. Don't chop it. We're using the full extent of the knife. We're not destroying the cilantro. Now I got a question. Hit me. What's up? I love questions. I love it when you guys ask me things. What is my favorite dish to make? My favorite dish to make is whatever the person I'm cooking for is favorite thing to eat in that moment. That's what I love to make. That's what I love to eat. Rice and beans, lentil curries of all kinds. I love my legumes to death. But that's really what my favorite thing to make is. I love taking care of somebody because I know I can give them the best interpretation of a dish that they've ever had before. I can literally make them the best of that thing. That's how confident I am in my ability. Or one, at least that will inspire some kind of nostalgia for them. Okay, most of the cilantro is going in the salad. We're saving some of this for garnish, but most of it's going in now. Okay? I love taking care of people in that way. I love cooking for others. And in a way, right, I love sharing things. I love teaching people how to cook. That's why I love doing this. This is the most meaningful thing for me. I never want to work in a restaurant because I won't get to cook or teach people in a meaningful way. I can make really good food, but you're working on a line and you're working with like preparations. So I love making food. So that's the cilantro. I'm also going to chop up a little bit of onion for garnish too because I think that'll be nice. I'm going to just stir around my sauce, my salsa. I keep mixing up salsa and sauce. We're going to reduce it down even more, nice low heat. You don't want it to burble too much or splash too much. I don't know, I think everybody can agree for that as well. Food to me is in many ways a philosophical pursuit, right? It is me being able to apply a lot of especially economic concepts of capitalism, concepts of wastefulness and how to fight against that. And it is able to pay a lot of cultural respect, right? And really understand history. There is a lot that goes into food, and I love teaching people about it. So we're gonna make incisions, just like so on this onion. This is just for my garnishes. We're gonna slice this up really nice and thin, as we do any sliced onion. And the answer is maybe. And here's why. Okay, so I keep going back and forth on this. I think I would really enjoy being a personal chef. That's the kind of scale of people that I want to cook for. However, here's my problem with being a personal chef. Unless it's for, let's say, like a party for my friends or something, the only people that a personal chef really helps are people of a certain economic status. It's not very, for the people, it's not very proletariat, is it? It's only for, and let me tell you, here's the target demographic of private chefs, are people that make six figures and want to entertain guests. That, to me, is one of the least meaningful ways you can possibly cook. It's not exciting, you're not doing anything, you're not saving the world, you're cooking for people that already have the money to do it. And that's why I am a little conflicted against that. I would love to be a private chef for friends' parties, if I want to make a little money off of them or something, but it might not be a life pursuit of mine for that one reason, because it's not doing what I want to do, and that is be meaningful with food. I want to be meaningful with food. I don't want to be meaningful in a restaurant setting. Restaurant settings, they serve special occasions. If I want to cook, I want to design a cafeteria setting. I want to design something that is universal, that is universally accessible. And guess what? Watching a Twitch stream is free. I am not gatekeeping a single lick of this knowledge, at least for now. behind any sort of paywall at all. And all the subscriptions, they go to help me to continue to do this. But these are not subscriber-only streams or anything, right? I'm not locking any essential features behind it. Because to me, this casts a very nice wide net. And I would like to do the private cooking classes, but the more I start keeping those kinds of things behind paywalls, the less people I'm able to influence. For now, yes, and it's probably going to keep that way too. Cooking streams will always be free. I want my cooking streams to go so big in scale that I'm able to make enough money that I can live off of this in scale and still be able to provide this as a free service. It's going to take a lot of time, but that is ultimately my end goal. That is my end ambition with doing this kind of thing. Okay? The last thing I want to do is just be a private chef that just cooks for people who have too much money. Okay, salad. Gotta talk about this really quick. Guess what? We're gonna get some lime zest in here. Limes, zest them up. Also, thank you. Also, hello, Nicole. It is lovely to see you. How you doing? It's been forever. Zest them up. Actually, why am I holding it like this? These are really nice to just do like so. We'll get a couple of limes worth of zest in here. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. Nicole, I hope you're having a beautiful day today. Hope you're doing good. I am making a little bit of tinga. We're getting some lime zest in the salad. I'm making like a little cabbage salad. Almost done with it. We don't want to get any of the white part of the lime in. All right. And then we'll juice these bad boys. I think 1 lime worth of zest will be plenty for something like this. Now, let's see. Is this a lime that is without seeds or is it with seeds? If it's without seeds, God bless. God bless. You know what that means? I get to just squeeze it. I get to squeeze this with reckless abandon. Well, this does have onions and cilantro and lime juice in it, right? So still pretty close to a guacamole. All right, we're going to do a little bit of lime juice. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Did I lie? Is that a seed? I can't believe this. Well, whatever happens, happens. Squeezing it out. These are tense. I'm only going to do 1 lime's worth of juice. And the rest I'm going to do some vinegar because I love the combination of different acids. You get a lot of different flavor that way. And again, remember, the cabbage has already been fully salted. And doing this, I recommend to do anybody with gloves. Never do this barehanded unless you want to feel every single little teeny tiny paper cut. Okay? Always, always, always glove up for juicing up limes, unless you have a juicer. And that's good too. Okay, that is plenty of lime juice. We're going to mix it in. And then I'm going to see how much acidity this has, because sometimes limes can be so acidic that that 1 lime is all you need for this portion of salad. Okay? Getting it in there, you can smell the chili. We're breaking up the cabbage. We're making sure the onion is getting in there as well. The cilantro, distributing all this stuff nice and evenly. Spreading it out, breaking it up. Get those cabbage out of those little clusters. No clicks. No clicks of cabbage allowed. We want them to mingle with everybody else in here. That's how they feel something. Okay. Break it up, get all those clusters out, and then we're gonna taste it. I bet we're gonna need a little splash of vinegar, but that's okay. All these little clusters, break them up, break them up. We want everything to incorporate. Do I like taco salad? Yeah, sure. It's a little white for me in a way of like, it's a tostada. If you talk about like big, served in like a big tortilla. Never mind. I think that salad's perfect on acid. I'm gonna take a bigger handful. Half a head's worth of cabbage, yep. I only had half a head in the fridge. You know what, guys? 1 lime, that's perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. That's all done. Lovely. Okay? Trump taco salad post. Holy fuck. That's a classic. That is not something I've heard in a very long time. Okay. I got some cilantro accidentally on my keyboard. And again, I should have wiped this knife off sooner. That's a classic Twitter post. Oh, man. All right, wiping off my knife. Getting rid of any of the acid on it. I should probably wash this off as well. That will make it rust even faster, potentially, right? So we're constantly washing and drying off with the knife here, because it is a carbon steel knife. And then we're just about ready to shred up the chicken. The last thing I'm going to do, though, I'm going to just chop up the lime for garnish. Yes, well, I used to when I was a kid. I played, what was the one? Triple Deluxe? Some shit like that. It's been a long time. And what's my favorite character? I like the little guys that shake and blow up. That's what I like. They're kind of weird. Okay, let's finish up the garnish plate. We're just going to get one lime here. We're going to just chop this up now into pieces. Oh, and I should have used the glove for that, but that's okay. Let me get rid of this. I have no use for this for now. Okay, guess what? That's all done. The knife I'm gonna wipe off one last time. We have nothing else that we need to chop. Only thing is we gotta do is shred up that chicken. Now, I have neglected my sauce for a little bit. I should really make sure that it's not burnt at all on the bottom, and it's not. It's just been slowly going here. In fact, it could reduce a touch more. So I might just turn up that heat for a second. Oh, it smells wonderful. Really aromatic. Okay, chicken, time to shred. Guys, we have done basically everything. Basically everything has been completed. We've done the salad. That's just resting up now. We've done the rice. We're gonna finish it all with some sour cream. So I'm just gonna get the sour cream out of the fridge once we build the bowl. Get my sour cream out. Okay. Now, let's shred some chicken. All from the ground up as well, that's right. Everything made ourselves. The sauce is still going, it's bubbling along. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some gloves. We can tear this up with our hands or a fork. We'll see how tender it is with our hands before I begin with a fork, because it is easy with your hands if it's able to. The chicken, again, it's not gonna be fully cooked right now. We just have to dunk it back into the salsa for us to get that final texture that we want, okay? And we'll taste the salsa. We'll taste that for seasoning. The salad that we made is perfect in terms of the salt. When we salted that cabbage, that was plenty to compensate for the whole salad. Okay. I added a Sonic emote just for you. All right, let's see. Am I gonna be able to shred this up with my paws at all? The answer is not all that well. So we're just gonna grab it. We're gonna grab it ourselves like this. I'm still not very good at shredding chicken. It seems like a very basic task, but I would like to optimize this. You know what? With our hands would be better. And again, chicken's about like 145 internal. After that, like 10 minutes of poaching after we seared it. You want to try to keep these pieces long. You know what? We're going to go back with a fork. I'm going to see how possible this is. Okay. The answer is it is quite possible. Use the back of it, smush it down. I'm just not very good at it. I don't want to turn it into mush, right? I want to be able to shred this up properly. Right? And then the fibers inevitably separate. Boop. Off it all goes. It's not shredding that well with a fork. Okay, I've decided we're going to do this with our fingers. Because I want to keep these shreds of meat intact. Okay, we don't want these to be too fine, and I want to keep them nice and long, and I don't want to accidentally cut them with the fork. When they're nice and long like that, they'll pick up the sauce really well. The finer you go, the more sauce it's going to end up picking up, but I want to keep some of the succulence of the chicken. Okay? Yeah, getting in there does the job just fine. Lovely. Chat, where did you go? Chat's chilling out for a second. People don't have to talk all the time. I appreciate you keeping up the conversation. But sometimes everybody needs to chill out. as in the people that are just taking a little break. And besides, I think a lot of people, they just kind of have the stream on while they do other stuff. Is my understanding so far. Like, I have a question. When you guys have the stream open, are you guys just watching this? Or are you simultaneously doing something else? Yeah, my fingers seems to do a better job here than anything else. You playing WoW at the same time? You doing makeup? Hell yeah. What are you playing WoW right now? Classic retail. What are you doing? Aw, that's very sweet of you. You play guitar over the Pokemon Lo-Fi? I've been practicing my Iwi a lot lately. Look at that. Crafting your work sauna? Hell yeah. I recently finished my resume and shit and it looks great. Use the fork. I will not be using the fork. I have decided with my fingers, because guess what? Look at these big shreds I'm able to get with my fingers. I do. I will. But you see, everybody's busy doing stuff, which actually is really nice. I'm glad that you guys have me on at the same time. It's very sweet of you. I don't demand all of your attention all the time. I'm not that manipulative, am I? I'm only a little bit. Okay, let's get this thrown into the salsa now. And guess what, my friends? The tinga is basically done. We just have to give that another second to finish cooking through. Okay? Let's get rid of my gloves. I'm going to toss everything into the dishwasher now. Let's just head to the stove so you guys can watch this happen in real time. And then we'll taste it for seasoning. Ugh. Had something just poorly in my dishwasher. It's all fine now. Okay. Excellent. Just cleaning up as you go, guys. Always. When you cook, it'll make your life so much easier. Ugh. Okay, gamers, guess what? We've done it. We've done it all. We've done basically everything that we've needed to. I'm just going to clean up my station one last time. I'm wiping any junk that could have been left over. Excellent. You're just imagining how this will taste? It's going to taste wonderful. You don't have to imagine anything. I can tell you right now. All right, let's mix this up. Oh yeah, and now this is where your ordinary shredded chicken becomes a beautiful tinga, my friends. Just soaking up all of that salsa in its crevices, right? And that is the beauty. That is the textural superiority of chicken breast that's been shredded. You create all of those gaps. You create all of those different openings. Okay? Don't forget all the steps that we did there. We charred the tomatillos. We soaked the chipotle chilies. We did the serranos. We charred that too. The onions, the garlic. We have some cumin. We have some chorizo in there. It is full of flavor and love and life, and also some Mexican oregano. Okay? Has a lot going on in it. The tomato rice is done. It's all ready to go. We're just going to give that another second, and then we can pull it all off. I'm going to replace this with another spoon. We'll do a spoon so we can actually pick up salsa with it. We don't need tongs anymore. I'm so glad I started with an empty dishwasher for today, because now I don't have anything lying in my sink. Not a single thing, not a single dirty dish. Gone amiss. Shred that up. Ah, look at it go. Scrape up everything from the sides, get it back in there. It is charred, it is smoky, it is delicious. The chicken has been fully cooked through. We're going to taste that for seasoning. It's going to be a little under-salted. I don't think the chorizo imparted that much. Oh, holy shit. Why is this the first time that I'm making tinga with chorizo? Why is that the first time I'm doing this? That is incredible. The salt is perfect. The chorizo imparted enough. There is enough salt from the top of the chicken breast. Jesus Christ. Okay. All right. I understand. I understand why people put chorizo in their tinga now. That is a lovely bite. That was actually just a really lovely bite. Oh, I tasted it. I tasted it and it was incredible. I tasted the chorizo in the tinga itself and it was pretty lovely. Okay, I think this is basically as reduced as it could be. Again, we don't have that much chicken, but we were able to compensate for the lack of it with the chorizo. We're just gonna reduce it for a second longer, get it a little bit saucier, okay? And now, we can also think about plating simultaneously. I'm just getting my sour cream open and ready to go. It is a rice bowl, that's right. That's what we're doing. I love rice bowls. Can't get enough of those things. Okay. Gamers, guess what? It is time for us to plate. Or rather, I think we'll just do a rice plate because I think those look nicer. Because I'm not going to be doing that much anyways. Oh, that's perfect. That's absorbed all of that salsa. Excellent. Smells wonderful, tastes even better. It's time to plate. And I'm not that hungry. We're doing a very tiny plate. Very, very small. Very, very small, full of stuff. Look how small, look how baby that plate is. I'm not hungry. But I do want to taste everything for us. So first step, we're going to do the rice meme. You know what the rice meme is? We take a bunch of rice. Oh, that's actually cooled down considerably. We've got to fluff it up again. Here's your rice meme. Take a bowl, take some rice. We're gonna stuff it in. Oh no, I dropped a bunch. Okay. Pack it in. I don't mind how cold it is because it will reheat because of the hot tinga that we'll put on it. Okay? We have a bunch of really, really hot, beautiful stew. Hello, crew. Oh no, you hear it at the end. Okay, it's time to do the rice meme. I got a bunch of rice on my hands now. It's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna just brush this plate off. I'm gonna make this a nice looking plate. Just so you guys have something nice to look at. Okay? So, we flip it over, we do the thing, we pat it down, and guess what? You have a circular mold of rice now. Isn't that cool? That's the rice meme. It's a bit of a meme. But guess what? You guys have nice little formations like that when you do that. Okay, here's what happens. First step, we'll do a big spoonful of the gorgeous tinga that we made. I'm only gonna need one for myself today. Just that much. Excellent. Then we're going to do some of the coleslaw. Some of the cabbage slaw. Let's get it on there. Just a little bit. Again, I'm not the hungriest little guy at the moment. Beautiful. Not coleslaw, but we'll talk about it in a second. Then we'll do this nice little thing of sour cream. Boop. I fucking love sour cream, dude. It's the best. And then we'll throw some limes on the side just for it to look pretty. A little bit of onion over the whole deal. And a little bit of cilantro over all of it too. And that's it. Okay, maybe this plate's a little too small. Oh shit, I forgot to reheat the beans. We're gonna do this without beans, it's fine. The beans were already made a long time ago. Okay, everybody, guess what? Let's get this out of the way. Before I do the final stuff, let's get all this out of the way. All right, my friends, we are done with today's stream. Let's talk about everything that we've made. We made ourselves a little bit of a rice plate. We made ourselves a little bit of a rice bowl. First step, we have the rice. Super simple, cooked in a really nice, delicious, gelatinous chicken stock. Really nice and meaty. Topped it off with some bay leaves and cooked it with tomato paste. Intentionally left unsalted because everything else on it is going is super salty. We have the cabbage slaw that we made. That is some very thinly shaved cabbage. We seasoned it with salt. We drained out all of the excess liquid that it released. Onions, cilantro, serrano chili, and I already said onions, didn't I? A bunch of lime juice as well. Really lovely. And then we have the chicken tinga that we made. The tinga was really exciting. We had a bunch of tomatillos. We had some serranos. We had some onion and garlic. We threw all of that into the broiler. We got it all nice and burnt. And then we blended it down. So we have a really smoky salsa as well as some chipotles. Then in a pan, I had a bunch of chorizo, I fried it up, I threw in some toasted cumin, I fried up some chicken breasts, I let it all poach, I took the breasts out, I shredded it up, I let that sauce, I keep mixing it up, I let that salsa reduce, and then I put the chicken back in, and that's how we got this gorgeous little tinga right here. And now, let's get a little bite. With the rice. Oh, that's lovely. I love tinga so much. It is the best. It is so easy to do at home. It is just the best. That slaw is so simple, but it's bringing a lot of really welcome acidity. Man, there's no need for pico de gallo. We already have salsa. We already have onion on top. I don't need pico de gallo on this. But I do like pico de gallo. I should do that one of these days. Dude. You have no idea how flavorful this meat is. It's so unassuming. But it is filled with chilies, it is filled with cumin. Nice and smoky. From the chipotles and the chowing that we did. This is really incredible stuff. And the rice, intentionally unseasoned because everything else has so much salt and so much flavor. And so much nice crunchiness from the salad that we did. Okay. That is good. It is excellent. I don't think I have any problems. I don't have any critiques, other than I missed the beans and I wasn't too hungry when I started eating. I love Tinga so much, man. I really do. It's really wonderful. And such simple ingredients too. All of this was really simple stuff at its base, at its core. Who knows? I do home cooking. Everything that I make is looking at the fridge and being like, what do I want to get rid of and what am I inspired by? So I never plan my streams more than a day in advance. I might have some ideas, but I always play it by ear because my kitchen is a living, breathing ecosystem, in a way, you know? That's so good. You as well. Okay, let's sign off. Let's find who's streaming. Who is live at the moment that I like the company of? You know what? We'll do the same thing we did last time. We'll go into food and drink, and we'll find who is live in food and drink. Everybody, final questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Let me know right now. Comments, concerns, anything else that you want to say to me while we're at it. Oh, I see that I'm on there. Hello. Hello, daughter. I see Miss Molly Bakes is here. Okay. Thank you for streaming, Daughter Champ. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. When's the next one? Wednesday, 6 p.m. Check the schedule on Twitch. Anybody that's not in the Discord, you should already go ahead and do that. Ugh. It was spicy. Did I see the noodles? Not yet, so then I'll do that after. We'll do all that stuff after. Okay. Let's go ahead and grade Miss Molly Bakes. Have a... Oh, that's not the right name, is it? Miss Molly Makes. All right, everybody. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your Sunday. Thank you all for being here. I really, really appreciate you guys. I appreciate your presence. I appreciate your company. So Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time is going to be the next one. I will catch you all then, and I hope you all have a gorgeous Sunday.